103. We've been looking at the theme for this month, Healing with God. We're having a great time in our Bible class lesson. We look at various things that we struggle with as a people. Look at heartbreak, addiction, and whatever it is that we're dealing with, that God is the ideal person and source of strength and healing. And we've been encouraged. I've been encouraged, and there's several of you who have expressed that you've been encouraged. And there are several things that we're going to apply from this study. One of them, I mentioned to you, the various support groups that we're trying to start. Let me mention this also, that right after worship, there's a table in the foyer for those of you who may be struggling with bereavement and grief and loss. There's a group actually that's been started called TEARS, and TEARS stand for Transcending Emotions and Restoring Serenity. Thank you. Transcending Emotions and Restoring Serenity. And the purpose of this group is to help those of us who are bereaving, dealing with loss, and you need someone to talk to. This is not a counseling session, but an encouraging group that you could say, hey, I need someone to go and talk to. And so if you're interested, please go by the table. If you know someone that's interested, go by the table and sign up. And that group will let you know when we start. I think it's going to be November the 19th. Is that correct? November 19th at 1 o'clock? Right? Okay. And so go by the table and just sign up, and we'll be able to assist you if you are interested in that group. And so we want to be healed from the things that we're dealing with. We don't want to always be on the downside or upside down. Is that right? And so the book of Psalms so far has been an encouragement to us. And Psalm 103 is a familiar passage. Everybody knows verse 1, where it says what? Bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is what? Within me. Bless his holy name. This psalm is not just a psalm where you could just say, bless the Lord, oh my soul, like what we just did, right? It's really a psalm of thanksgiving. It's a psalm of praise. It's a psalm actually of high praise because of what the Lord has done. And so when we read it, matter of fact, you see that exclamation mark at the end of it, right? Y'all see that? Now I know you're all looking nice and you dress nice. You don't want to act crazy, and you don't want to. But really, the way you read this psalm and you sing, it's really a song. The way you sing this song and you read this psalm, it ought to be, bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is within me. Bless his holy name. Y'all see it? You see that? Isn't that different? See me like, Brother Casey, that's too much for I'm sleepy right now. That's too much. Right? I can see it on your faces, but if I could sing, I would sing it too. Right? You all want me to sing this? Yeah. Right? Can you sing it, Robert? Brother Mark? Right? But anyway, this psalm is a psalm of praise and thanksgiving. And for a few minutes, I'd like to challenge you on the thought, more than dust. More than dust. Because in this psalm, we're going to see there's a reminder of our frailty. A reminder that we're just dust. I want to stop by this morning to tell you that when we remember that we're just dust, it tends to put a sense of uneasiness. It says to us that life doesn't last forever, that we're just weak and that we're lowly. But this psalm says to us this morning that we want God to do the remembering, because when he remembers, he handles us in a different way. Does that make sense? Yes. And it helps us. David writes this psalm and tells us how when God remembers us, that we're just dust, how he handles us, and what it does for us, and how we are to respond to that. Does that make sense? And so, more than just dust. Number one, I'd like for us to appreciate, we're not sure when David wrote this, but some believe that he wrote it when he was in his senior years, that after he reflected upon the things that he has been through, how he had to run. David was a running man. He was always running. Anybody here always running from one thing or the next, or running to something else? Running from somebody? David, y'all know we talked about him this morning. David was always running for his life, but always running to God's purpose. Because it's in his running from and running to that he gets the chance to see who God is. In Psalm 103, David stops to just say to God, thank you for everything that you have done. And so number one, I want you to see that we ought to remember God's benefits. Remember God's what? Benefits. Sometimes in life, we get so caught up with everything that's happening that it clouds our judgment and we can't see beyond the moment. We can't see the good even in the storm. We can't see, we can't stop and smell the roses and enjoy life because life puts a pressure or squeeze on us. Well, in this passage, David says, bless the Lord, O my what? Soul, and all that is within me, bless his holy name. Look what he does. David gives total and complete worship to God. David let himself go. He says, bless the Lord, O my what? Soul. You have to appreciate this. For us in our culture, we appreciate that we are a threefold spiritual being. Right? I have a spirit. Right? I live in a body. And I have a what? Soul. But in their culture, the Jews, they only saw man in a dichotomy. Man is body and man is soul. In other words, what David was saying was, bless the Lord, all of me. Every part of me. So whether you see yourself as a trichotomy or a dichotomy, simply put, what David was saying is, all of me needs to be involved in worship. All of me intentionally needs to be involved in worship. How do I know that? He said, look at verse 2. He says this, bless the Lord, O my soul, and what? Forget not all his benefits. The word forget implies that there is an intellectual aspect to this. Y'all see what I'm saying? So if I should sit where you are sitting in the pew this morning, if I should take a seat beside you, what David is saying to all of us, first of all, there has to be a personal aspect of worship. That worship needs to involve all of me. And all of me needs to bless all of him. I can't just come with just some of me. I can't just come with just my intellect, but not my feelings. I can't just come with just my feelings and no intellect, because God gave me all of me to engage all of him. Does that make sense? And so when I sit in the pew, like right now, when I sit here, when I come to this place, it's not about out here to get a song or to get a word. Really, we're here for worship. We're here for what? Worship. We're here to collectively worship him. And the thing about this is, worship is relative. Though we're doing it collectively, because there's some of us in here who are bereaving. Yes. There's some of us in here who life has been good for you this week. Yes. Some of you in here, things are on the up and up. Some of us in here, things are on the down and down, right? But either way, when we come in here, because of who he is, I'm going to what? Worship him. Now watch this. When I worship him, worship is motivated by what he has done for me. Look at verse 3. What are his benefits? David says, I want to worship all of him because number one, he what? Forgives all your iniquities. You see that? He heals all your what? Diseases. That's why some of us today are in pink, because we are in support of breast cancer. And not only just breast cancer, but there are several other cancers that we deal with, we are dealing with, or a loved one, or a family member, whoever it is dealing with cancer. And we're saying through this month, we're focusing on healing. And we want to say to those who have survived cancer, job well done in the milestone of your life. Some of you are celebrating years of being cured from cancer. Some of you are still dealing with it and you are fighting. I want to say to you, don't give up. And then those of you who are family members of those who are struggling, I want to say to you, you too don't give up. Keep being a cheerleader. Keep praying. Don't get up off your knees. Don't stop asking and beseeching God's help in the situation. Keep pressing on, and we wear this color to say to you that we are also cheering with you. Now, what's interesting is, I didn't know this, but every month there's a color for a different type of cancer. And it says to us that not only cancer, but every form of illness is present, because as long as we're alive on this earth, we're going to always deal with illnesses. But then look at the text. Go back to verse 3. When I sit in the pew and all of me worship all of him, I want to do it because he forgives all my iniquities and he heals all my what? Diseases. Now watch this. Watch this. This is personal for David now. You got to see the picture. This is not a promise, but rather it's a personal praise. David is saying, I know what he has done for me. He forgave me of the things I've done, but he's also healed me from some things. I don't want you to leave here this morning saying, well, the text promised me I'm going to be healed. Because here's the reality of the whole thing. That God does not heal everybody. But it doesn't mean that he's not God. The only healing that God gives to everybody is spiritual healing. The only healing that all of us could benefit from and ought to be at a point in our lives where we want to say thank you is when he heals our spirit and when he heals our souls. So really in this context, what David is saying is, I want to praise God for who he is because he forgives me of my sins, but also he heals me of my diseases. Now you got to see the context. The diseases that David is talking about in this context is the disease that comes from your sinfulness. Most of the things that we deal with in life can be tied to sin. Now, don't leave here and point a finger at sister so-and-so or brother so-and-so and say the reason why you're sick is because you've been sinning. I want you to look within yourself and look at what are the things I'm doing that causes me to be sick. See, we gotta appreciate that if we keep sinning, we're going to keep being sick. But if God forgives me, I need to walk in my forgiveness and live a life that reflects forgiveness, that I can walk around and say I'm healed. That when I come to worship and I sit in the pew beside my brother, and our brother is right here, whatever he's dealing with and what I'm dealing with is different. But because of who God is, yeah, don't get upset with me. Because he forgave me of a lot of stuff. He may have forgiven you of one thing, but he forgave me of 10 things. Yeah, so when I reflect upon his goodness, don't get upset with me if I start to clap. If I start to shout. If I start to say hallelujah, praise you, Lord, for healing me. Don't get upset with me if I want to run around the building and just say, God, I thank you for who you are, because you're worthy to be praised. You're worthy to be worshipped. My heart is broken, but I still thank you because everything is okay because of you. And so we gotta see, we gotta remember his benefits, because his benefits benefit us. You see, if we get caught up in the fact that I'm just dust, then we're gonna start counting dust particles. And then because we focus on the fact that life is frail and unpredictable, then we have dusty thinking. But when we focus on God and who he is and what he has done for me, you can't help but make your worship personal. So look what he said in verse 4 real quickly. He says this in verse 4. He says, who redeems your life from what? Destruction. You should have been dead. Doctor gave up on you. Doctor told you that you're not going to live for X amount of time. Somebody told you you're no good. Keep going the way you're going, you're going to die. You were at that place you shouldn't have been, but yet still God saved you. Y'all, nobody hollering this morning. He says he saved you, saved your life from destruction. Who crowns you with loving kindness and what? Tender mercies. God is compassionate. And so David is saying, let me just put on the list. He satisfies your mouth with good things, so that your what? Youth is what? Renewed like the eagle. I love this verse, because what he's saying to me is that even though you are still broke, even though you're still weak, even though you're still brokenhearted, even though he left you or she left you, even though nobody will call you or take your call, what God does is, Brother Crenshaw, is renew your strength to the point where you feel like a young person again, and you will mount up like an eagle, that even though you're in the situation, you'll be above the situation. That even though you're in mess right now, but your spirit is high above where you are, and you could have looked down and said, bless the Lord, oh my soul. He will make you like eagles. Spread your wings and fly. But we have to start seeing him for who he is. But how we do that is we remember his benefits. And number 2, I need to hasten to my seat. Number 2, we need to see him, see his character, see him for who he is. Let's go to verse 6 quickly. Verse 6. It says, the Lord executes what? Righteousness and justice for all who are what? Oppressed. Anybody oppressed this morning? Anybody oppressed on your job? You're oppressed by the system. You're oppressed by the fact that your skin color. And I'm just being real. This election is showing us the ugliness. America's sin is slavery. I know people don't want to talk about it. I'm not promoting racism. I'm not promoting bigotry. But let's just be real. America's sin has been slavery, and nobody wants to talk about it. And we have these debates and these political pundits and all this stuff. And it's high time. Matter of fact, I'm going to call CNN and get on CNN myself and just tell it like it is. I know I'm crazy. But the point is, we need to start facing what the real issue is. The issue is we've been oppressed, not only black people, but people of color, because of the white entitlement in this culture. And I'm not knocking anybody here who's white. I'm not trying to say don't come. All I'm saying is, in God's house, God's people, black, white, Hispanic, Jamaican, we need to start talking about the issue. That's all right. Only 5 of you clap, but that's all right. I know it's not an easy subject, but if we're going to have healing, if healing is going to take place, we cannot be afraid to stand people in their face. Tell Trump that he is a fool and he's to sit his butt down. Tell Hillary too. Tell whoever. Even Barack Obama, I don't care. I'm not being prejudiced. All I'm saying, if it's President Obama, if it's Trump, if it's Hillary, if it's Dwayne Case, if it's your mama, your daddy, your husband, your wife, you open the Word and say, look what the Word says, get your life together. I'm sorry, I'm on a tangent right there. Look at verse 7. Look at verse 7. Quickly, walk with me. Verse 7. He made known his ways to who? Moses. His acts to the children of what? Israel. The Lord is merciful. Now, I love this because what David did was, David went all the way back to Exodus 33 and 34, and he remembered what happened. You see, in Exodus, the people were rebellious. The people were stiff-necked. And God was tired of his people. And God said to Moses, you lead them. I'm done with them. Moses says, how can you do that? He says, are you going to take them out here and then leave them hanging? He says, Moses said, listen, I'm not going anywhere without you. We need to be that type of church. Yes. Where we don't do anything or go anywhere without God. Amen. And so what God did was God listened to the prayer of Moses, bless him. And God said to Moses, he says, go in the cleft of the rock, and I will reveal myself to you. God covered the cleft of the rock, and the Bible said when he covered it, he passed by, and Moses saw his behind parts, and God revealed himself to Moses and told Moses that the Lord, I am the Lord who is merciful and what? Gracious. See, every now and again, we need to get to a point where we say to God, it's okay to talk to God and say, Lord, I am not going any further without you. I don't want to live. I don't want to go into Tuesday without you. I don't want to sit and do this exam without you. Go to the doctor's office without you. Deal with this marriage without you. Deal with my finances without you. Leave this church without you. Parent without you. Love without you. Lead without you. Be a man without you. Be a woman without you. Be a young person. I don't want to live my life without you. So God revealed himself to Moses, and when after God revealed himself to Moses, then Moses led God's people. We need to constantly say to God, I want to see you for who you are, so that I could sit down and count the blessings and see, not only count the blessings, but see your character. I want to see you for who you are, God. So he says real quickly in verse 9, he says this, he will not always strive with us. Isn't that beautiful? Nor will he keep his anger forever. Now, why is that important? Because if I see God's character and he reveals himself to me, he just told me God will not always what? Strive with us. Nor will he keep his what? Anger forever. Now, look what we do. Me and Mark are boys. Mark did something. He upset me. What I do is I take what Mark did, and every time I see Mark, I see flesh, I see dust. I didn't hold a grudge against Mark. That's right. But then if I'm trying to see God for who he is, how in heaven's name can I read that verse? That tells me that God does not strive with us forever, nor keep his anger, what? Forever. So who am I to keep a record against my brother? Why are you remembering what your husband did 10 years ago? Wives? Come on. Husbands. Oh boy, I'm in trouble now. Husband and wives, stop holding grudges. If you're your best friend, if it's your best friend or your co-worker, stop holding grudges, because if you do, you're saying that you're better than God. When this verse tells us that even the vilest of us, the most sinful in this room, myself, I've done the most sin, more than you have. Talking about myself. And God does not hold a grudge against me. So who am I to hold a grudge against you? Why are you walking around with all this ugly, cancerous stuff inside of you and then saying, praise, bless the Lord, oh my soul? You ought to say, bless the Lord, oh my soul, with all this ugliness in me. Let it go. Stop holding a grudge. Anyway, I need to get to my seat. Look at verse 10. Y'all need to behave yourself. Look at verse 10. He says, he has not dealt with us according to our what? Sins, nor punished us according to our what? That's so beautiful. So I'm not gonna hold a grudge against my bro. I'm gonna love him the way God loves me. Because when I come to church, and when I sit in this pew, I can't be a hypocrite. I can't be a fake and then say, yeah. When I know over here, I can't stand him. When I know the person on the street, I can't stand him. That is hypocritical. That's just wrong. Look what he says, though. He says in verse 11, for as the heavens are what? High above the earth, so great is his what? Mercy toward those who fear him. As far as the what? East is from the west. Now this is beautiful. You gotta see God's character. I love this. As far as the what? East is from the west. Did you know that if you walk from the North Pole to the South Pole, you can measure the distance from the North Pole to the South Pole, from the South Pole to the North Pole? It's limited. But if you go from east to west, you'll never get it. You just keep going east. Y'all know that, right? Yes. Does that make sense to you? Just keep going east. Matter of fact, if you want to just do it one day, just try it. You keep going east. You can never go east and stop going east. And you can never go west and stop going west. You'll forever keep going what? East or west. What's the point of the case? That's what God does for you. That's what he does for us. He takes all the ugliness and he sends it far away. The problem is we go chasing it. Yeah, we do. We get in our little righteous cars and drive. I'm going to get this. I'm going to go get this. Because you don't want to let go of the ugly, and so you go chase the ugly. And you spend time chasing ugly, that when pretty and beautiful come in front of you, you don't know what to do with it. When the Lord bless you, you don't know how to worship because you're so busy chasing ugly. Wow. Whether it's her, it's him, it's it, it's that, whatever it is, whoever it is, you keep chasing ugly. And you wonder why my life is messed up, because get out of your self-righteous car and park it and say, Lord, here are the keys, you got control. Take over my life. Anyway, real quickly, he says in verse 13, as a father pities his children, so the Lord pities those who what? Fear him. Real quickly. For he knows, here's what I'm trying to get to. He knows our what? Frame. He remembers that we are what? Dust. He knows our frame. And he remembers we're just what? Dust. As for man, his days are like what? Grass. As a flower of the field, so he what? Flourishes. Now I love this because how many of you here like pizza? Pizza? Yeah, pizza. Pepperoni pizza? Yeah, no, maybe meat lovers? Supreme? Yeah, all right. Canadian bacon and with pineapple? Chicken and pineapple? Yeah, I just say chicken. But before you can get the pizza you want, before you can enjoy whatever topping you want on it, that dough has to go through a process. That dough has to be kneaded, has to be rolled, pressed with that pin. You don't know what I'm talking about, right? No? I don't know what you call it. Come on, help me. Rolling pin. Thank you. It has to be tossed, turn, yeah, hand toss. I love the hand toss, right? Right? Then it has to be baked. It has to go through the heat. See, some of us want verses 1 through 5. We want the forgiveness. We want all the toppings. We want the pepperoni, we want all that. Whatever you eat on your pizza, you want all the blessings, but nobody wants to be rolled out, pressed, and kneaded. See, we got to understand that we are just dust, and wait for us to appreciate the blessing. For us to appreciate the pepperoni, the anchovies, the pineapple, the chicken, whatever you like on top of your pizza. For us to say, I love this whole thing. You and I have to go through a process of being kneaded, being pressed, being tossed, being flipped sometime up in the air, and then caught again by God. And then put in the heat. But when you come out, the Lord can enjoy you because you were under the pressure, but you stayed under the pressure, and you come out looking good and smelling good. You and I cannot keep living a life where we just keep wanting the toppings and the blessings, but never wanting to go through the process of the pain. Whether it's a heartbreak, whether it's a report from the doctor, whether it's your financial mess up, whether you have low self-esteem, they were laughing at you at school, they were laughing at you at the office, they were talking about you. Whatever it is, you are going through it so that you could be a better person. And then don't you know that when you let yourself go through it, you could then look behind you because there's a young woman or a young man that's going to go through the same hell you went through, but because God blessed you yesterday and you're better off today, you could reach back and help that person. Don't you know that your ministry is found in your brokenness? But if you won't let yourself be broken, how can you live to your true potential? Your brokenness and your pain is where you rise up and you look like an eagle and you can then bless somebody else's life. As I take my seat real quick, look at verses 19. Verse 19. The last point is, remember that he reigns. It says the Lord has established his throne where? In heaven. And his kingdom rules over what? All. That's significant. I'm going to stop right here. Look at that. Go back to verse 19. It says that the Lord has established his throne where? Amen. And his kingdom rules over what? All. The beautiful thing about this is that if you give your life to God, that if you and I allow ourselves to be his children, that even though you're living down here, your daddy lives up there. That even though you're down here, and you don't like what's happening down here, but because your residence, your citizenship, your passport says heaven, you have diplomatic immunity. That Satan can't touch you. That while you're down here, because of where he is, you know your Father has ruled over everything. His foot is on your situation. That's powerful. That's powerful. That's powerful. I don't know what you're looking for this morning, but that's powerful. When you know that God's foot is on the neck of your enemy. That God's foot is on every ugly word that was said to you. Every ugly thought that you have ever thought about, he took it and he put it under his foot. That he steps on it and he has control and he sits on his throne and he watches over everything. There's somebody here this morning that needs to leave knowing that God is in control. And that you and I can never control anything in our life. He is the only one that could do it all. I don't know what you're looking for this morning, but right now we're saying to you, come if you want healing. Come to him if you want strength. Come to him and let him do what he said in verse 3 through 5, where he says that he will forgive you and he will heal you of all your diseases. Don't leave here in the state you're in. You don't have to be under the power of your addiction, under the power of the lies you've been told, under the power of anything that's against God's will. Are you going to make a change this morning? And forget about the fact that you are just dust. When he remembers you're just dust, he takes care of you. But when you and I remember, we fall apart. How about you remember what he is, who he is, and what he could do? As we stand and as we sing. Yield not to